So for more on this, let's bring in David Drucker. He's a senior political correspondent for the Washington Examiner and the author of In Trump's Shadow, The Battle for 2024 and the Future of the GOP. So, David, the future of the GOP and Trump and all of this is what I want to talk to you about. So what exactly will be the impact of this FBI search on a potential bid by Trump in 2024?
Right. So that's what everybody wants to know. And I think what we need to find out first, Caitlin, and you sort of alluded to this in your conversation with your previous guest, is that we don't yet know all of the facts. We know some of the cursory top line facts, uh, some example of why this raid occurred, but we don't really know what documents were seized, why the Justice Department and the FBI felt that this type of raid was necessary given how unprecedented and politically charged this is. So before we can really address the impact on Trump and the Republican Party, we need to learn all of that. I think in the immediate, however, what we can say is that it has rallied many grassroots Republicans around Trump, and it has rallied lawmakers around Trump, either because they're scared not to rally around him, because their voters demand they rally around him, or because they're genuinely troubled by what they think occurred, of course, before we have discovered all of the facts behind this.
Yeah, I mean, David, that's been so fascinating to watch because as we've been talking about for weeks and months, there's been kind of this fracturing within the Republican Party as it pertains to Donald Trump. And as we learn more about January 6th, you've had people like former Vice President Mike Pence out there campaigning. But today, it was really interesting because Mike Pence actually put out a statement criticizing the FBI and the DOJ, kind of echoing Trump's remarks on this, as have some other 2024 potential contenders. So how do you expect all of this to kind of affect this, big field that we could see on the Republican side when it comes to the White House in 2024?
Right. I'll do you one better, Caitlin. Governor Larry Hogan, the most outspoken, prominent Republican critic of former President Donald Trump, also issued a statement saying he was troubled by the raid, wanted the FBI and Justice Department to be transparent, and they needed to be transparent as soon as possible. Didn't mention Trump in his statement, but even Larry Hogan felt the need, as a leader of the Republican Party and some standing, to put out a statement. Look, I think that we overthink this sometimes. Everybody likes to say that, oh, now you've done it. Trump's mad. He's going to run. And somehow, if we leave Trump alone, he'll just disappear and he'll get bored with everything and you won't have to worry about it. And then Trump says, oh, no, you don't. I'm going to stir up a hornet's nest. Now, listen, he didn't ask the FBI to raid Mar-a-Lago, but he's always putting himself into the mix. And I don't think that this really impacts whether he runs one way or the other. I think he intends to run. I think he wants to run. Whether he pulls the trigger is still somewhat of an open question. And every other Republican that wants to run for president in 2024 is in a sense waiting to see what he does, even though there may be more people than people think that are going to run, even if he does run. I think the one thing we have to look for here is, again, we don't know the impact of this because we don't know all of the facts. And should the facts come out and the search warrant and the raid look justified, the public could react one way, and Republicans won't believe it anyway, but they'll still internalize what they see. If it looks like this thing is completely unjustified and it was a big political screw up, if you will, by the Justice Department and the FBI, that is going to add fuel to the fire that Trump is some sort of persecuted martyr. And that helps him politically within the Republican Party, because I don't think any Republican, Governor Ron DeSantis, you name it, is as much of a symbol to Republicans, a sort of avatar for all of the injustices and grievances they feel they have suffered at the hands of the media, people like you and me, Democrats, cultural elites, so-called, in Washington and around the country. And this helps Trump keep this mythology going. And it's been very important to why he's maintained himself as the leader of the party, despite losing re-election in 2020.
Yeah, interesting to see how something like this could be something that unites the Republican Party at this time. But as you say, still a lot of questions remaining. David Drucker, as always, thank you so much.
Thank you.